Innovation Unplugged from the Alabama Community College System's Innovation Center takes you inside Alabama's workforce development. Join us for enlightening conversations with community leaders and industry experts showcasing experiences, addressing key issues, and celebrating successes in the workforce initiatives across the state.
Welcome back to another episode of Innovation Unplugged. I am Kailah Dozier, and we have two guests with us today, and I will let them introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie Frizzell. I'm the Executive Director for the ACCS Innovation Center.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jimmy Hodges. I'm the president of Calhoun Community College in Huntsville and Decatur, Alabama.
Awesome. We are so excited that you said yes to our invitation to be on the podcast today. And just from the beginning, you have been a huge advocate and support for the Innovation Center and the Skills for Success program. But before we get into that, I want our audience to hear a little bit about you, what you do, who you are, what you're passionate about, and what you're looking forward to for this year.
Are you sure you got enough time for that?
Everybody strap in.
Yep. Let's go.
So I started out as a machinist a long time ago and went to school, graduated high school, went to Wallace State Community College in Huntsville, learned how to be a machinist. Then I got a job building space shuttle parts and Tomahawk cruise missiles. And I've always loved what I have had the job to do. But I got to tell you that one day I went through this drive-through window and I saw this young lady there and I fell in love the moment that I saw her. And so 40 years later, she still loves me.
Oh, yeah.
My wife, Lynn, we have 3 grown children. I like to say they're educated, employed, and are doing really well. They have given us 7 grandchildren, and we have 4 girls and 3 boys from 14 down to 4. And when they say Papa, I'm ready to go spend some money.
I was going to ask what they call you, so it's Papa.
It's Papa.
Papa.
And so, we've been married for 40 years, but in the beginning, I was a machinist, like I said. And then there was something in me that I thought I wanted to be a teacher. And so in 2000, I got a phone call, and it was the technical school that I had gone to when I was in high school. And they said, hey, our drafting teacher has retired. We wondered if you would be willing to apply for the job. And I had gotten into engineering by that time, and so I knew a lot about drafting. And so I go and interview for the job, got the job, and started in August of 2000 teaching high school drafting. And so I taught drafting for about 9 years. And then one day I got a phone call from Wallace State, and they said, hey, we'd love for you to come up to Wallace State. So I thought, man, this is crazy because I only lived 7 miles from my work, and Wallace was going to be 70 miles. So for the next 11 years as the technical dean at Wallace Huntsville, I drove 3 hours a day in the car.
Wow.
That's commitment right there.
Well, I loved what I did, and, we were changing lives, and that's what education is all about, is changing lives, helping people to have upward mobility and to help them to find out what their purpose is in life. And so we did that for about 11 years, and then Chancellor Baker called me and said, hey, I'd like for you to come to work for the system office. And so I worked at the system office for about a year and a half as the North Alabama Regional Workforce Director. And then Chancellor Baker calls me again, and he says, Jimmy, I'd really like for you to go to Calhoun. And so I went to Calhoun in June the 1st of 2021. And this June 1st, I'll be there 3 years. And I served as interim for a year and then became permanent president, and I'll be permanent president for 2 years here in August. And so again, I'm just living the dream. Calhoun Community College has changed my life, and I'd like to think that we're changing North Alabama lives every day. If you don't know anything about Calhoun, the Alabama Community College system has 24 colleges. Calhoun just happens to be the largest. I forget the exact number, but right now we're somewhere around 8,800 students.
It's amazing.
We have 3 campuses, one right across the street from the Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville. And then we have one that's on our Tanner campus, which is just a little north of Decatur. And then we have one in downtown Decatur that's called the Alabama Center for the Arts, and that's a partnership between Calhoun and Athens State. And we have theater, we have music, we have visual arts, and all of that kind of stuff there. But our main campus is in Tanner.
Awesome. Well, thank you for giving us that background. I think when I met you, you were in your interim time at Calhoun, and I remember thinking, I want to be on his team. He seems so great, so fun. And I can't believe it's been 2 years already. Time has flown.
It really has. And, you know, I never approached my presidency as an interim for that first year. Some of the guys told Chancellor Baker one time, they said, you know, Dr. Hodges came in here and he's just running with his hair on fire all the time.
Hey, only way to do it, right?
Go big or go home. And I don't like to go home unless I'm taking the gold and the money.
Yes, yes. Well, that's awesome. You've done so much, and you mentioned your different locations, and our hub is what we say, our main stomping grounds for where a large part of our team is in downtown Decatur, and we appreciate just the love that you've shown to our team and the Innovation Center building as a whole, extending your Calhoun team to us. So a little plug there of just saying thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome, and that's what we do because you are all part of the family. And I mean, everybody in the Alabama Community College system, no matter what part it is, ATN or the Innovation Center or any of our colleges, they are filled with good people that care about people and want to change their lives.
Absolutely. And Chancellor Baker does a really good job of pinging those people and giving them a job and everyone running with it. So
Finding the right people for the right roles. That's right.
Well, you know what I say about my position at Calhoun, you mentioned the team there. And I have an amazing team, and I say all the time that God only sends me the best. And I'll tell you, there is a team of people at Calhoun, and I tell them to focus on the goal and pedal as fast as you can because we got so much work to do. We've got to get to that goal.
I think that's why we love Dr. Hodges so much, is because we feel the same way. We have so much work to do, so little time to do it, but we're all focused on that goal of helping those students be successful. I'm going to kind of go into a couple of questions I have for you. Because you've had such a wide array of experiences and exposure throughout business and industry and then in education, what have you seen change over the last 2 to 3 years since you've been in the president position for short-term training opportunities, and where has that gone that you see has benefited the community around North Alabama?
Well, if I could I back up just a little bit further than 2 to 3 years?
Yeah.
Because, you know, when I started out 24 years ago in technical education, we were on the back seat. I mean, technical education, if you were going to a technical field, it wasn't a cool thing to do. And honestly, business and industry was not as strong as it is now. And that's the good fortune that we have, especially in North Alabama. We, in Huntsville, it's the fastest growing city in the state. And we just have so much business and industry. And it's gotten to the point that business and industry realizes that there's not just a whole pool of skilled workforce out there. They've got to grow their own. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we like to do at Calhoun, is to partner with business and industry and to create what we call earn and learn opportunities to where they can work and go to school at the same time. And then, you know, workforce is up on the front and cutting edge now, and that's what everybody is talking about. And the thing is that our workforce participation rate is really, really low. The unemployment rate's like less than 2%. And so it's our jobs, all of ours, y'all's included, to get out here and to find people that are either underemployed or don't have skills to get into a good job, and to help them find those good skills. And the cool thing is that all of the Innovation Center certifications come so quickly that a person could be working, doing a nothing job, and a couple of weeks later, they could be driving a bulldozer, driving a dump truck, driving an 18-wheeler. They could be working in a high-end restaurant. They could just be doing all kinds of really cool things that they may not have ever seen themselves do.
That's right.
Absolutely. I think that having the avenue to meet somebody where they are is really unique. And we want our message and awareness is that Skills for Success can meet anyone at any stage as long as they are employable. And so Skills for Success has been a testament to that. And Calhoun has been a huge support of Skills for Success. And so I wanted to ask you, just during your time, what are some of the things that you're hearing from local businesses on, hey, this is what we're looking for, Skills for Success has done this, but also other areas that we need to be aware of to better serve your community?
Well, skilled trades are just the forefront. One day not long ago, and I make sure I answer your question before, but I've got to tell you this story. One day we had a Washington update at the Von Braun Center, and Senator Tuberville was there, or he likes to be called Coach, was there, and I happened to be able to go up and meet him at a meet and greet before the presentation. And I said, Senator, I'm Jimmy Hodges. I'm the president of Calhoun. He said, you know anything about workforce? I said, sir, that's all we do is workforce training. I said, as a matter of fact, if you don't believe me, turn around, look behind you, and ask those two guys if we serve their workforce. It was the president of Mazda Toyota and then the president of Toyota Manufacturing. And they said, Senator, we could not have our business run in a timely manner if it was not for Calhoun Community College.
Wow.
and the skilled workforce that we get from them. But I'll tell you, I was out there one day when they were doing a skid steer training right across the street from our campus there by our pole yard, and there was about 15 or 20. Most of them were young men, and a lot of them were young Hispanic men. And they were out there, and I was watching them, and I've never been to one of those trainings. And the instructor was talking to them, and they were really intently listening. And then when he said go, those guys ran to those machines as fast as they could and got on them and started scooping up dirt and going through obstacle courses and doing all kind of crazy stuff. And every one of them was just thrilled out of their mind. I said, think about that. Yeah. Every little boy loves to play in the dirt, and now they get paid to do that.
Yep.
And it's all because of the Innovation Center and the Skills for Success that those young men will now have a chance to work. And I don't know if you've been around the Huntsville area, but there's plenty of dirt being moved.
There is, no doubt. I think that brings up a good point. I mean, think about the opportunities that gives to so many more individuals across our state who may not can afford training or may not really understand how did I get to training. But right now, through Skills for Success and the legislative funding that we've had available to us to develop these programs to scholarship 100% of our students, your students really through the colleges, talk about those barriers and how we're able to kind of push those aside and offer training to exactly the folks around our state who may not have thought that they were, this was for them or available to them.
Well, what I always like to do is I talk to people all the time everywhere I go, and I can just start a conversation and ask them, what are they doing? Where are they planning on going? What do they think they want to do? And it is shocking that a lot of people out there don't think they're college students, and they don't know what they don't know. Right. And maybe they don't have the parental help and guidance at home for them to see themselves doing some kind of thing. But what I think about the Skills for Success and about the programs at Calhoun Community College is that we offer hope. And if we can just get those young people or old people, as far as that goes, if we can get them to a point and they can see, I used to always say this, you got to see it before you can be it.
I like
that.
I
like that.
And so, I travel all over the place because I want to go see the best of the best so that I can bring it back and have it here at Calhoun. But I'll tell you, young people, a lot of times their parents are working hard. They've got careers. They don't spend a whole lot of time. Maybe they don't even know what is available for their child. But if they're out there listening to this today, I really would encourage them to get a hold of Calhoun Community College Workforce Solutions. Probably Doug Brazier would be the person they would talk to begin with, and just find out about all the opportunities. We go all over sharing what the Skills for Success does. But if they're listening to this, just by some happen chance, and they just need to get a hold of Doug Brazier at Calhoun Community College and find out about the skills for success, because I'm going to tell you, there's something for everybody there. And you may not have hope. They may be out there and not have hope. Maybe something has happened in their family. Maybe they have never really believed in themselves. But I'll tell you, when they earn a short-term certificate from the Innovation Center for Skills for Success or one from Calhoun, there is hope in that person again. And that's what we do. We provide hope for people that take our classes.
Absolutely.
And that's a statewide thing too. You know, I being marketing director for the Innovation Center, all the things that we post on social media is Calhoun Community College's Skills for Success fill in the blank course, because that brand identity is for your community. And the really cool thing about it is that same skid steer program that's offered at Calhoun is also offered at Bishop State, and they are serving their community in areas that maybe they haven't been able to in the past, or it's enhancing what is already offered on that campus. And so I think you kind of hit on it a second ago of that generational impact, and we've had high school students go through our programs, and then parents are also like, my son did this or my daughter did this. Is this open to me as well? I was looking on your website. And so it has been really cool to see generationally how this has impacted Alabamians across the state. And so we want our audiences to hear from your perspective that yes, it is working, but there's also areas to improve. If you had a wish list of courses, you've been in the CTE world, you've seen probably all the trainings out there. What is something that you could empower us potentially to create here in the next year or two?
Well, I've also got something else to say about that. You mentioned about the generational, and so I followed Keith Brown, who's the president at Jeff State. He hired a person not long ago that was a Hispanic outreach coordinator, and we want to increase the minority enrollment at Calhoun because it does not reflect our neighborhood. And when I say that, Decatur City Schools is about 30% Hispanic and about 30% Black, and we don't have those enrollments at Calhoun. And so we're working on that. So I hired a Hispanic coordinator, outreach coordinator, and she is just phenomenal. And she's been out explaining, because the Hispanic culture is very respective of their parents, and if their parents don't tell them to go to take this class or whatever, then they're not going to do it. So she goes and explains those kind of things to them. But then you know what? The parents want some training then also. And one of them recently said that they had this for their child. Is there anything for me? And so they worked with them. I don't remember exactly what class they took, but all of them would really like to have ESL classes. And so we're excited about that. We think that's great. Now, as far as what kind of short certificate training that you all could offer that I have not seen, I'll just tell you, I don't know if this would fit in Skills for Success, but masonry and concrete work is really big. If you look out here at these roads, they all have a bunch of rebar in them and concrete, and there's skills to tie up rebar and then pour the concrete, and it makes it strong. So that may be a possibility. There's some other ones. What was the one this morning I was talking to somebody about? I believe it was maybe some short-term electrical, like a electrician's helper or something like that could help pull wire and to bend conduit and those kinds of things. Those might be something that you might be interested in.
Well, I am excited to tell you that the electrical helper is 90%, 99% done.
Yes.
So we will be piloting that in 2024. So
At Calhoun Community College.
You can bet you will be able to deliver on that. Yes.
So you see, you have your finger on the pulse of the workforce needs, and that's what's so cool about the college system and the Innovation Center and all of that stuff. Our fingers are on the pulse of the workforce needs. And so maybe that concrete could be something else that you would look at.
We do have, I don't know the title that we have come up with, but one of our businesses that we've worked with in the past on some of our construction courses has actually talked about pouring of the concrete and how that works. And so that has been a request. We're at the beginning stages of that, but we may call on you for some businesses that you may also know in your area that may be looking for that for sure.
Well, these are not short-term trainings, but something that we are doing at Calhoun is this fall we're going to start a diesel mechanics program.
Oh, that's great.
And there may be something in that diesel mechanics, some kind of service technician or lube technician or something like that you might could look into. But
It's a great idea. Yeah.
we are stationed right there next to Pryor Field in Decatur, and so we're also starting an aviation mechanic program this fall. And so that just lets you know that in addition to the short-term trainings that we're doing, we're also adding degree programs that are needed. And so that's why we are all partners, right?
That's right.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that tells, our audience really the flexibility that our programs provide, right? And so we have the option really to go out and talk to industry across the state and say, where are the needs? What are those high demand jobs that are out there that we don't have existing training for across our state? And I think that's really where we've been able to fill in that niche and really find that gap in skills that we can help train for and hand these courses off to our colleges, such as Calhoun, to say, now you have a library of curriculum and training that you can offer no matter what your need is. And it may be a seasonal need as well. So you may be able to run some of your programs, certain times of the year, and then other times able to support other industry. And I think that flexibility of training is what also is really exciting to see. Us to be able to hand off and deliver to our colleges.
That's right. And then we love it when you hand it off to us because it's just another tool in our toolbox to go and help somebody find their career.
Absolutely. We like to say that we're an extension of your team.
Yes.
So utilize us as that because we want to serve and support the best way that we can. And it is just exciting to see how we know every college is different and unique and have their own processes. But the fact that you guys have just picked up Skills for Success and run with it has been really exciting to be a part of.
Well, it's really exciting to have the Innovation Center in Decatur, too. So maybe that helps. Maybe that's why you feel such a part of our Calhoun family.
No, definitely. We are so appreciative of that. And your team has been so supportive of the needs that we have to get our building ready. And now we've got almost every office location filled with new employees there. So we're excited about that. All right. So let's switch gears and talk about high schoolers and talk about Skills for Success that's been able to be implemented in the high school programs across North Alabama and your communities right now. So tell us a little bit about how that's been going.
Well, it's like I told you a while ago about the skid steer. There was about 15 to 20 young people from Decatur and Austin High School there. And as a matter of fact, it hasn't been that long ago. It wasn't that class that I went and visited, but it was another one. But it was a skid steer. And it might have been a bulldozer. I don't know.
They all run together.
But the point is that there was a high school senior, and they've gone through the class, and there was a construction company out there observing their training and their obstacle course, offered him a job as soon as he graduates at $24 an hour.
It's amazing.
I think we did a story, or where I guess this will air live at some point, but Business Alabama magazine is doing an article on transportation, and Hayden, I think, is his name, and he was so sweet to answer all of my questions over the phone, and he was pumped about that job. So,
well, I believe if I was 18 years old and was making 20, you know how long I had to work to make $24 an hour?
His picture of him holding his certificate of completion, he was beaming ear to ear. So that's awesome. I'm glad you got to meet him.
I can just tell you this, that all of our local high schools, all of our local career tech centers are just hungry for these short-term trainings, and we can't get to them fast enough. I mean, it's almost like we have a wait list out there that before we can get to them. But it is incredible how the life, think about that, how that might change that young man's life, that he instantly has a sustainable wage after one short-term training. Isn't that
it opens up doors
It
for
does,
sure.
yeah.
A lot of the times we have people that say, if they take this course, they may not go finish school because they now have a job, or they're not really sure what they want to do. And so we want to help them have a job that provides options. So maybe they do want to go on to get additional schooling. Well, they're going to have to pay for it somehow. Anybody has to figure those things out. And so specifically for him or any other one in his position, these give them an opportunity to get their footing and then enhance the skills should they enjoy that career.
Well, and I'm going to tell you the fiber optics short training. Oh my goodness, I don't think I could do that myself personally.
You can. We can teach you.
We can match the we can help you learn the colors too.
An old man like me would have to have magnifying glasses to see the. But you say that, and again, we say all the time, people don't know what they don't know, and I'll just tell you how dumb I was, and I don't say that pridefully. I say that because it was pitiful. When I graduated from Wallace with a machining degree, I went to work in Huntsville building space shuttle parts and Tomahawk cruise missiles. Well, it became time for a promotion. And they said, well, you got to have an associate degree. And I said, well, I've got an associate degree. And they said, no, you don't. You just have a certificate, because I hated academics. And so I'd never taken the academics. So I had to go back to Calhoun, and I have an associate degree from Calhoun with my academics in machine tool technology. Those same young people that we're talking about that are getting those jobs early, and I know that there's probably a lot of people and a lot of presidents that would be like, well, I really want them to come and get an associate degree. Well, that's okay, because later in life, they probably will need to do that, especially if they move up into management or some kind of leadership opportunity. They'll require them to have those. But right now, it's important that they are making a livable wage and that they are changing their families, because what did they say? 45% of our graduates don't have any intention of going to pursuing higher education. Well, we got to help them do something.
Yeah, those pathways are extremely important, because although one may not know immediately what they want to do, this provides them options and an avenue. And so I think that is where the support of local high school instructors, administrators step into those lives of those students and say, hey, here's a career exploration opportunity. Here's a potential job opportunity. And then when you finish that, here's a, short-term certificate that may be 6 weeks or 12 weeks. And then here's an associate's degree also. And then your employer says, hey, I'm going to promote you if you go do this additional training.
That's right.
And it builds. And then the next thing you know, someone has a career that never maybe thought, or maybe did have intentions of having a career, but didn't know what that looked like. And when you can lay it out, step by step, brick by brick, that buy-in on the front end is powerful to seeing that career grow. And so that's huge.
Well, I say this all the time, that I admire young people that know exactly what they want to do, and they go and get all of their education and then have this long career. Old Jimmy Hodges is just a work in progress.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, I went from right there not knowing that I just had earned a certificate to graduating from Alabama with a 3.86 GPA in my doctorate. So, where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
But there was opportunities out there that you didn't know about probably at that age. And then as you kind of grew into those industry opportunities, you were made aware of those. And then how to get there, how to do that, how to afford that. I think that's what's so neat now, because we're working with the aerospace industry right there in Calhoun, and with your program at Calhoun Community College to work through Skills for Success aerospace technician training program, so that we can pathway into your programs.
So that was going to be another one that I was going to bring up, is that soldering certification that they require in those aerospace wiring harnesses. And if you look around the Huntsville area, if you ever get a chance to go to Lockheed Martin over in what's the name of that little town?
Troy, Alabama.
No.
We have a Lockheed Martin too. That's where I live.
Do you? This one is in I'll think of it in just a minute, but they make missiles that shoot other missiles down. They won't let you go in there and see all of that
Interceptors.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's right, they're interceptors. But they still have to be built to the same standards,
Right.
because if the wires are not, Cortland, that's where the Lockheed plant is at, in Cortland, Alabama. But they have blueprint reading skills, they have soldering skills, and you know what? If they're a person that doesn't like to work with a group, a lot of these individuals work on an individual
yeah.
basis, and so that, that's really good. And before we go on, I want to make sure that I say this, that we were talking about the certifications for skills for success. I was in the grocery store the other day, and my wife and I love steaks. And I looked down there at that steak and I said, what if they didn't have a meat cutter?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have steaks.
We wouldn't have
We
steak.
Yes.
wouldn't have steaks.
Yeah.
But thank goodness that the Skills for Success has a meat cutting certification.
Yep. Yes. We, I want all of our audiences to hear that we do have a meat cutting course, and we want that to be in your community. That has been a course that we're excited about. It is important, but there's a little bit of grocery stores. It's hard sometimes for them to open their doors all the time, just for liability and things of that nature. But if we find those independent grocery stores and stores that are willing to think outside the box for their industry, that course is for them. And so we've had interest, and we've offered the training all across the state, but there's so much potential for so much more. So yes,
Well, with that being
preach
said,
it.
if you're in the grocery store, you need to ask your manager of your grocery store, hey, are you having any trouble
Yep.
finding meat cutters? Because I know a place that they can get a certification.
That's right. Yeah.
And you can have all the meat cutters you need if you will cooperate.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. You took some of my questions.
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So, anything else we haven't covered today, Dr. Hodges? What are some things that Calhoun is working on that we may not know about that we can support with?
Well, like I had mentioned, the A&P, aviation mechanic, the diesel mechanic program. We're also, Huntsville Hospital is one of the largest hospitals in North Alabama. And they have approached us wanting us to expand our nursing program,
Right.
our EMS program, all of those health-related programs. And also, we are starting a respiratory therapy program this fall.
That's great.
And Huntsville Hospital says, we'll hire everyone you train.
Oh my
Right.
gosh. That's
Well, that's exciting, but then have
got
mercy. It's challenging to find the money to those health programs are
Right.
really, really expensive, but we're doing it. We're doing it.
Well,
Great
we're
opportunities.
excited to support you with some of those, because we do have a nursing support technician course coming very soon. And then to support your EMT program is an ambulance operator course that is in the works, that we had a couple different associations, the Fire College, correct me if I'm wrong, that asked for, it kind of evolved into what an ambulance driver needs to know. Although they're driving and they're getting someone from point A to point B, but there's other things that they need to know.
Yeah, it's and I think this kind of opened the door to emergency services during COVID, that we also have such a shortage of ambulance drivers and emergency vehicle operators in our state and across our especially rural communities. And what that kind of opened the door to the Alabama Association of Ambulance Services was, we need people for non-emergency calls, right, that are doing transports for individuals to go to appointments or to take them from a nursing home to a hospital for a non-emergency. Or also just, we don't have enough EMTs if they're on an emergency call to take a non-emergency call, and we have people waiting across the state. And so that was really the ask from the Alabama Association of Ambulance Services, is help us build a program that is that stepping stone into an EMT program. And then how do we really help broaden that across the state so that those trainings are available in the rural parts of our state where our ambulance service providers don't have as many licensed and trained operators for those emergency response teams. So,
Well, I know Doug is talking with some of our local fire departments about CDL training for certain drivers and different things like that. So that's going to be exciting. But, something that I wanted to talk to y'all about also is that I don't know if y'all get the memos and the different things that go on at Calhoun, but just this past last weekend, in downtown Decatur at the Princess Theater. Calhoun Community College show band had a concert there, and we had the Marsalis brothers from New Orleans, and we had a jazz festival all day long Saturday. I went Saturday
fun.
night.
Wait, we missed
know.
that.
Oh, there was
That sounds
food trucks,
exciting.
vendors, and all that downtown. And Dr. Matt Ladder, our show band and jazz band director, is really doing a phenomenal job. And then there's another thing that y'all. I know that y'all stay busy all the time, but we do have a softball and a baseball field over on the main campus. And I'll buy you some popcorn if you'll come over and visit one day when you have time.
That'd be fun. Yeah,
When I came there 3 years ago, I walked through our gym and I said, "Wow, how's our basketball team?" Because we had this phenomenal looking gym, and they said, "Well, we don't have basketball." Said the president took it away a few years ago, and I said, "Well, this president's going to bring it back."
All right.
And so our girls made it to the Final Four in the state playoffs this year.
That's awesome.
And so there's this thing that I say all the time. I say, "Go Warhawks." And they said, when I first got there, they said, "Nobody says that." I said, "Well, you better get used to it."
Yeah, we do
and
now.
So now everybody says, "Go Warhawks."
Hey, you brought it. That's awesome.
One day I was parking in the parking lot behind the building, and I noticed this car pulled up beside me, and there was a person in it, but I was busy doing something. I never paid attention. And I opened the door, and about the time I opened the door, there was a young student over there. It looked like he was about 20 years old. He said, "Go Warhawks!"
Oh, I love it.
That warmed your heart, didn't it?
Oh, it
Yeah.
did. And y'all don't know this, but today was our national NC3 signing day. So we have this organization that we're a part of. It's called the National Coalition of Certification Centers, and they offer short-term certifications, but it comes with toolkits, and it's it's a little expensive to get the instructor trained and all that. But once you do, it's no cost to the student. But so today they have a national signing day, just like the athletic training signing day. We have a signing day for people that go into the skilled trades.
I love that.
That's amazing.
That is so cool.
And that NC3 organization broadcasts them from all over the country. I was just in Wichita not long ago, and my friend Dr. Sherry Utash is the president out there at Wichita Tech, and they had their colleges all over. And so today was signing day, and they said there were parents there just crying, and they're just assigning and agreeing that they're going to go into a career and technical education field.
That's powerful
It is.
for
Well,
parents to see and students to experience.
And we think they're special because they are changing their lives.
Right.
We're excited about that.
Everybody should be.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. And it's exciting for those individuals because those are people that probably never saw themselves getting through a program or
That's
being
right.
able to get training like that to continue on. Well, that's exciting. I love to hear everything that's happening at Calhoun. You do such an amazing job, and we are blessed to be a part of that. And your workforce team with Doug Brazier and Jillian and everyone there on the Calhoun campus, we thank them so much for everything that they're doing to support skilled training across our state. So thank you.
Well, I said it a while ago, and I'll say it again. God only sends me the best, and that's why they're there.
That's right. Love this.
I like it. I like it.
right.
All right. I think that's all we have for you, unless Julie has any additional comments. But thank you all for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe on all podcast platforms. See you next time.
Yep. Thanks again, Dr. Hodges. We
Go
appreciate you here.
Warhawks.
Go Warhawks.